Would you confess to a crime you did not commit? Pause for a moment and truly consider the question. Most of us would answer with a swift, confident no. We believe our innocence is a shield, an unbreakable barrier against any accusation. We imagine ourselves standing firm, resolute in the face of pressure. Our sense of justice, a guiding star in the darkest of rooms. The very idea of admitting to a heinous act we had no part in feels like a betrayal of our own reality, a surrender of our very soul. It seems impossible, not for ordinary rational people like ourselves. But what if that belief is just a comfortable illusion? What if the human mind is more malleable than we dare to admit? The truth is far more unsettling than most are willing to accept. The annals of justice are filled with the haunting echoes of innocent voices confessing to crimes they never committed. These are not anomalies. They reveal a crack in the bedrock of our justice system. The confession, hailed as the queen of evidence, can also be its most dangerous siren. It speaks with a perceived authority that silences doubt, guiding investigators, prosecutors, juries, even judges toward wrongful conviction. Imagine being led into a small, featureless room. The door closes with a definitive click, severing your connection to the outside world. No clocks, no windows, just a table and a few chairs. This is a space engineered for psychological dominance. Interrogation is not conversation. It is a strategy. It can last hours, sometimes days. Questions come in waves, circling back, probing for inconsistencies where none exist. Sleep is withheld. The body and mind falter. The effects of sleep deprivation are profound and documented. Judgment declines. Memory wavers. Complex thought dissolves into a fog, replaced by a primal urge to make it stop. Fresh interrogators exploit manufactured weakness, offering their narrative as the only lifeline. Fear is wielded. Tone shifts from calm to accusatory, relaxed to aggressive. Humans are conditioned from a young age to respect and obey authority. Parents, teachers, police, detectives. When a detective insists they know you're guilty, it creates profound cognitive dissonance. Your knowledge of innocence versus the certainty of authority. They control the room, the information, and the story. Often, that evidence isn't real, and in isolation, you can't verify claims. The badge makes their words carry weight. They are professionals. They know more. Bad cop threatens. Good cop sympathizes. Leniency is offered. At the price of a confession. Trust in authority becomes vulnerability. Both seek the same admission. The pressure to conform becomes unbearable. Confession feels like capitulation to a forced reality. Authority pressure shapes belief and breaks resistance. Isolation is one of the most potent weapons. From custody onward, you are cut off, denied access to family, friends, and often legal counsel. Your world shrinks to the interrogation room. Without grounding voices, fear escalates. Detectives dominate the narrative. Hours bleed together. The outside world ceases to feel real. Paradox. The source of pain becomes the only source of relief. They control comfort, and when the ordeal can end, a desperate need to please emerges, to give them what they want. Experiments show deprivation erodes reality. Interrogation applies both social and sensory deprivation. Memory, logic, resolve, worn down by fatigue and fear. Lines blur between recall and suggestion. Despair makes a false confession feel like the only rational choice, the only key to end the loneliness. When you are exhausted, frightened, despairing, tactics shift from accusation to persuasion. They downplay legal and moral consequences. They craft a lesser story so confession feels easier. Just tell us what happened. You can go home. False promises of leniency. A cruel illusion at your breaking point. Minimization is bolstered by fabricated evidence. Fingerprints, DNA, surveillance. A claimed confession from someone else can tip you into doubt. In labs, a simple false accusation induced admissions to acts never done. Irrefutable science, even when fabricated, can make innocence feel impossible. If they have my DNA, I must have been there. Maybe I blacked out. Memory distrust syndrome takes hold. Shattered faith in your own mind turns fiction into fact. The consequences are not theoretical. In the late 1980s, 5 teenagers in New York City, all minors, were subjected to intense, prolonged interrogations, isolated, deprived of sleep, pressured by multiple seasoned detectives. They were promised they could go home if they told police what they wanted to hear. All 5 gave detailed, incriminating, and false confessions that appeared convincing. Key details had been fed to them during long, unrecorded sessions. Confessions overrode the lack of physical evidence. They were convicted, their youth stolen. Years later, the true perpetrator confessed. DNA matched, convictions vacated. Studies show false confessions in roughly 25–30% of DNA exonerations. Juveniles, people with cognitive impairments, mental health challenges, and ordinary stable adults, no one is immune. Each wrongful conviction is a dual tragedy, an innocent imprisoned, the guilty free to harm again. A confession can be the product of coercion, not knowledge of a crime. We have journeyed into the dark, claustrophobic world of the interrogation room. We have seen how reality is dismantled. Memory, resolve, even knowledge of one's own innocence. Isolation and fear, exhaustion, immense pressure from authority, a vortex that feels impossible to escape. The promise of an end, dangled by interrogators, becomes a siren song. The mind chooses immediate relief over long-term consequences. Science and stories agree. Ordinary people can be coerced into false confessions. The situation's power can overwhelm even strong individuals. We must move away from treating confession as infallible proof. Advocate reforms, mandatory recording of all interrogations, transparency, non-coercive information-gathering techniques. Jurors and citizens must evaluate confession evidence in context. The integrity of the system depends on it. We return to our question, now heavier. Imagine yourself there, 30 hours without sleep, alone, back against the wall. They tell you they have evidence. They say your friends betrayed you. Your only hope is to tell them what they want to hear. They promise you can go home. They promise it will be over. You are at your breaking point, your mind a fog of fear and fatigue.